recently I've been showing you a few of my journals, well actually a lot of my journals, and showing you how I use them. I do have a lot of journals in rotation, so I've already shown you all the ones I've filled up for my bullet journal. I've shown you the ones that are on my shelf that I'm really looking forward to using. And more recently, I showed you the notebooks that I use for my hobbies, and I had 6 of those. Today I have, how many are there? There's 7 journals today, and these ones are my functional journals. They're serving a purpose that's probably greater than just a hobby journal. This review I'm doing today is not going to be about the content of these journals so much as how I've felt about the journal itself, how it is to use, whether I've enjoyed it, whether I would buy it again, that sort of thing. I just want to talk about durability, things like that. I'm Ruby from The Useful Journal. I do reviews of dot grid journals. I have a huge collection of journals and I use a lot of them for many different purposes, including just testing out ideas. Stick around and see what I've done with these 7. So we'll start with, this one is probably my most used, or second most used. So this one is my Marie on Rose, and it's by Torryn Marie, and I'll just get this one done quickly because it is no longer available, sadly. But one thing I love about this notebook is that it has a leatherette cover that has been printed. I actually really love printed covers, and they are too rarely available in leatherette. Printed covers tend to be in that paper card sort of finish. The cover has held up really well. The leatherette hasn't torn or frayed at any edges. The binding has held together beautifully. I have no issues with that. I think I did raise in the original review of this that it did tear a little because a tiny bit of glue was showing through, and like there was some other issues with the dots disappearing on some pages, and yeah, but look, generally it has been a fantastic journal, so I am a little bit sad that it's no longer around. This is my mental health journal, so including affirmations and things like that, gratitude. I do occasionally work through certain things, like this is the things I like about me page. I have used various mediums. I have used watercolor in here. I've used pens. I've used markers. Look, this is 180 GSM paper, so it is pretty indestructible. I will probably talk about my mental health journal at another time. Anyway, it's not available anymore, so maybe she'll reprint. I do like it. Right, this one, I must have got this right at the beginning of when it became available, because there is actually more information available about it now than when I did my review. It is only a little stapled booklet. It comes in lots of different colours. I also have the pink and the purple. The paper is not great. It's 80 GSM. I use this one as examples of beginner spreads. I haven't done one for a little while because I haven't had time. But I do definitely want to do more. But you can see the ghosting is pretty bad, and also some issues with, that's mild bleed through, but you've got to be careful because you can get major bleed through. Like it came through on that cover there. That was with mild liners. So look, the paper's a bit rubbish. But what I wanted to show was that you can still have a nice looking beginner's journal in something with pretty basic paper. And look, yeah, there's some ghosting, but it still looks pretty good. It'd look better if it was sticker paper, but it still looks pretty good with the thin paper. Obviously, it's a little stapled notebook, so there's not much that can go wrong with it. The staples aren't about to fall out anytime soon. The cover does get dirty because it's just a cardboard, But yeah, not a lot to say about that one. It's not, I think the main point here is that, and I raised this in my review, is that it's not Midori MD paper, it is just Midori paper. So it is not their top quality paper, and you can tell. I didn't buy this so much for the white one, I bought it because I love the pastel colours of the other versions of this one. Next, I'll do my Traveller's Company notebook. I go through periods of using this heavily. I haven't been using it so much recently, but I have used it a lot in the past and will use it again in the future. I've used it mainly for morning pages. I do also use it for like collage type spreads. This paper is Traveller's Factory notebook. So this one is the really nice Midori MD paper. It's very good quality, it doesn't bleed, coats really well with fountain pens. It's really nice paper, this one as well. But this one is Traveller's Factory, and it's kind of a, it's not a craft paper, but it's definitely got that sort of feel about it, and things bleed through it big time, so it's not great. But Traveller's notebook inserts are always really sturdy, they hold together really well. I'm not concerned at all about the quality. I've been using this for quite a while now, and my elastics are still strong. So you've got the main one that comes with the leather cover, that's this one, that's a normal fabric sort of elastic. That is still nice and tight. It hasn't stretched out of shape or anything. The one that goes around the cover is still nice and tight. I do have replacements for when they wear out. And then the other elastics, which are for adding in the extra booklets, are also, they're just rubber, but they're also pretty good. They haven't perished at all. I've been using this for a couple of years now, this cover, and yeah, there's no perishing at all, which is amazing. I have, however, got a huge amount of scuffing on the cover, and it's leather, and look, you kind of want that patina, is it patina? Patina, I think, with leather. It just makes it look really used, and I don't think you would. Well, I never expected it to stay perfect, and I think I started marking it in the first week I owned it. So yeah, look, when you buy Traveller's Company, you are buying quality. I don't think it's something you ever have to worry about when you're buying them. I do have a video that covers other brands of inserts that you can put inside. Obviously, I can't speak to the quality of the paper of those, but there are alternative options. I'm determined to keep on using it because you have to use about 7 inserts full to make the cover worthwhile, because it is quite expensive. Next, I have my Leuchtturm bullet journal. This is 120 GSM. It's from a couple of years ago when pink was the colour. I think this year's colour was yellow. So they do have different releases every year, and then they always have black and things like that. This is my journal planning journal. So planning content for my useful journal Instagram, website, and my YouTube. And I actually really like working in this. I am not a fan at all of the Leuchtturm 1917 80 GSM journals, but this 120 GSM I do like. There you go, there's my logo. I'm mainly planning. I always write in the purple ink in my Pilot Prera medium nib. It works really well. I'm very happy with it. I always do my headings using my Fudenasuki marker pen, always the same. So I know what works in here and what doesn't. The only time I'm probably pushing the paper a little bit is when I test out my theme ideas for the beginning of the month, and as you can see, the paper hasn't always coped with that. We've got a bit of colour coming through. Oh, that's because I got water on it. So you will get bleed through if it gets wet on your inks. A bit of watercolour here. It copes really well with watercolour. This is also watercolour and gouache. This is obviously watercolour as well. Look, it gets a bit of page crinkle. You can see quite a bit if it's heavy watercolour use. But it absolutely no show through to the other side, which is amazing. So I would happily keep using watercolours in this notebook. A bit more watercolour there. Then I've got, it's almost a bit too lightweight for things like that, but I was just testing a theme idea. This is an absolute mess, but that's what this journal is for, is just testing ideas. Notes for different videos I'm preparing, things I need to, and like when I've got a page like this, I add it to my index. Yeah, so testing lots of ideas. And the paper, look at that. That's pretty heavy marker use and dark markers, water-based ones, Tombos, like these. And it hasn't shown through at all. So I am really happy with this one and would definitely buy one of these again. You couldn't pay me to buy a Leuchtturm 917 in the 80 GSM weight because I hate the paper. But this one with the 120, perfect. Construction-wise, it's gotten a bit chunky, and so the spine is definitely pushing out here, like just outside the spine area. It's pushing out a little bit. It's coping so far. The ribbons, let's see how well they're still attached. The ribbons, so there's no headband holding the ribbons in place. The black ones, yeah, I think they'll hold. They're stuck a long way down, but it would be better if they had a headband on them to hold them a bit better. There's 3 of them. There's a white one as well. The pocket, perfectly fine. It comes with this little book, and that's stuck in there at the moment. But yeah, no issues with that. The elastic, let's see. I use this nearly every day, this journal, so the elastic isn't on there most of the time. That's really good still. There's a few marks on the cover, but what you'll find with leatherette is I can probably wash that off. Let's just see, put a little bit on this towel. Yeah, the good thing about leatherette is you can clean it. So look at that, like it's gotten most of that stuff off. Looks heaps better. So it cleans off, even though it's a pale colour. I love the simple design of the cover that has just the bullet journal raised in embossing. It's held together really well. Would absolutely buy this journal again. Next, we have the Stalogy. Now, I bought this under duress because I don't like paper this thin. The Stalogy has 52 GSM paper, and like that's about as thin as it gets. It's thicker than the paper you'd get in a Bible, but not much. So it's really thin. It's a very pale dot grid. I find it's too pale. I can never follow the line. I bought it because I felt like I should review it because it's so popular, and then I was like, oh, what am I going to use this for? Because I don't like this paper. But I have ended up testing out what is called an interstitial journal, which is like a captain's log type thing. I am going to do a video on this one day when I decide whether it's useful or not, that particular process. I am writing with a fountain pen, and I think currently I'm writing with a gel pen. As you can see, a lot of ghosting. There's a lot of ghosting. There's no bleed through though, just ghosting. and some people love it. I am only writing with ink in this journal. I did test it with paints and whatnot, and look, it was fine with watercolor. Massive page crinkle. Because it's so dark, there's the ghosting's ridiculous. You wouldn't be able to use the back side of that because it's just too dark. Tombows started showing through. So look, it's not for me, but look, everyone's got their different preferences, and some people swear by Stalogy. In terms of construction, it's exceptionally well made. I have no issues there. The end papers are very well secured. The paper is really well bound. Like, these pages are never going to fall out. There's no glue. It sits flat. So if you can tolerate the ghosting, you will like this journal. I just really struggle with that amount of ghosting and just find it kind of restricts what I use it for. But look, if you're just doing it for this, like lists and just writing text, then there's no reason to have heavier paper. So maybe that is the go. And I do carry this around in my bag for work because I'm recording what I do each hour of the day. So it needs to be light, and you can get a lot of pages in when it's only 52 GSM. The cover, I don't even know what this cover is. It's kind of, I don't know whether it's a plastic sealed card or whether it's a leatherette. I don't know, which is plastic anyway, I suppose. But anyway, it's a very good material. Like the leatherette, it can be cleaned, so that's a positive. Nice paper to write on. It is really nice with a fountain pen. I just wish the dots were a tiny bit darker. Right, this one, I think this might be still available. It's mostly not. It's probably not a bad thing that it's not available anymore because the paper is pretty crap. It's 160 GSM. It's cheap, like it was way cheaper than most 160 GSM journals, but it has big issues with bleed through. So I should explain, this is my swatching journal. So it's got all my washi tapes, got lots of different things in it. But I mean, the bleed through is terrible. It gets really bad page crinkle when you use watercolor. I just think for 160 GSM paper, especially now, there are some good brands available that are cheap, that are better quality than this one. So I'm not particularly upset that it's not available anymore, and I didn't love the cover design. It's just a little bit, I don't know why it bothers me. If I'm going to go pretty and cute, I'd like something really pretty and cute like this one. I don't know, it just doesn't hit the right chord with me. But anyway, spine wise, I have raised this a few times with this kind of journal that has the card like paper cover. It always ends up tearing, and I think you would have seen it in my Vivid Scribbles journal, which I've used as a bullet journal. It tore all the way down, and I suspect this one will go the same way. I handle this journal a huge amount because it's got all my samples in it. So I am constantly looking at it to work out, for instance, what colour Tombow I want to use, or what colour fountain pen will look like on normal paper instead of my sample cards or my other pens and markers. And nothing has fallen out yet, so that's a positive. The dots are a good colour darkness. I'll probably keep on using this until it absolutely falls apart and I've got no choice. The elastic, it's a bit loose, and you can see here that that elastic is losing its elasticity there. But like I said, I do use this one a lot. I tend to just leave that off now because it's getting a bit weak. I suppose using this as an example of cheaper 160 GSM journals, particularly those with a paper cover, there's a few little things to look out for, but I don't think this one is widely available anymore. Then we have finally, my Paperblanks journal, and this is not the newer one. So you'll see when I did my Paperblanks review, I have 2 Paperblanks journals. This is not my dotted one. This is an older one. The only reason I'm talking about it is because it's one of the journals I use. This is my renovations and jobs around the home notebook. It has plain paper. So this is my first really nice journal. I bought it years and years ago. No lines or dots. And it's full of receipts that I haven't entered in yet in my notebook, but I am basically not doing an awful lot in here. I have started using actually my Sharpie Creatives because these don't show through on any paper. This is only 100 GSM paper, and that's what I love about these particular brush pens, is that they're paint based. They don't show through even on thinner paper. So that's why I use those now. And I write mostly with a Uniball Signo pen, occasionally with others, stuck in a bit of art there. But yeah, this is not meant to be a fancy journal. This is purely to track construction work I'm having done. So yeah, that's that one. Construction-wise, I've had no issues. The cover is quite durable. It's getting a little bit worn on the edges there, just on the edges of the spine, but not through. I think that's kind of a leatherette cover. I'm not entirely sure, but it's pretty strong. So look, and it's got an end paper. The ribbon's not going anywhere. Paperblanks, I find, is a really good brand. I'm curious to see how the journals will hold up now that they've got a different publisher, but this is the older style one and it has held together beautifully. It sits flat, pages aren't falling out, ribbons aren't falling out. Paper's pretty good. Actually, it's really nice to write on. I do like the paper, but you have to avoid using anything heavy. So definitely worth a look. And if you watch my review of Paperblanks, you'll see that I've covered the newer dotted journal and talk about that, and that's got a hard cover, so that's a little bit different. Paperblanks I would definitely buy again. So we had 2, unfortunately, that aren't available anymore. So that was the Torryn Marie and the Pink Mackerel journals. We had the Stalogy, which is a very lightweight paper, 52 GSM, very good construction. I recommend it for people that don't mind ghosting, but otherwise just stay far away. I have my, actually I'll do this one next. This is my Paperblanks 100 GSM. Love Paperblanks brand, would use them again. My Leuchtturm 1917 bullet journal, 120 GSM paper. They do have a 120 GSM version that doesn't have the bullet journal markings. Would definitely use that one again. And then I've got my little Midori. I probably wouldn't bother getting that. If you want to buy Midori, buy the Midori MD paper, which is by far one of the best papers I've ever tried. And then finally, a Traveller's Company, which uses the Midori MD paper, and a few others. Will hold up forever, I think, because it's leather and it doesn't have a lot to its construction. I've got spare elastics for when they wear out, so that is the list. If you watch this along with my coverage of my collections journals, yeah, that's it. I hope you found that review useful. Please check out my other videos that give you so much advice about different journal choices. You can look at individual reviews, you can look at plenty of comparison reviews. I have a whole playlist for comparison reviews, and oh my goodness, I've looked at B5 journals, I've looked at square journals, I've looked at the journals I own. There's an endless choice of videos to look at, so I hope you check them out. Have a great week. I hope you're not too stressed at this time of year leading up to Christmas, and I will see you soon. Bye.